South Korea's economic story is honestly incredible. I mean, going from post-war devastation to a global powerhouse in manufacturing and tech, it's one for the history books. But after all that success, you have to ask, what's next? What does the next chapter look like for a nation that's already achieved so much? So let's get into it. Now, the vision we're exploring here is, well, it's huge. It's this idea of a fundamental shift. We're not just talking about being a producer of things, of goods anymore. The goal is to become a source of wisdom, of guidance for the entire world. It's not about just being successful. It's about being respected for what you give back to humanity. So you see, this isn't a conversation about boosting GDP or shipping more products. This is about finding a whole new national purpose. It's this idea that South Korea has a unique mission, almost a destiny, you could say, to take all the hard-won lessons from its own incredible growth and use them to help everyone, to contribute to the prosperity of all humankind. It's a major pivot from looking inward to looking outward. But how do you even begin to do something like that? It's a huge leap, and it's not something you can just learn in a university class, right? The argument here is that this new mission needs a totally new kind of wisdom, the kind of stuff you just can't get from a textbook. So if that's the case, where do you even start looking? This brings us to a really fascinating and kind of counterintuitive idea, the 70% limit. The source we're looking at argues that even the highest, most specialized level of expertise has a built-in ceiling. There's a point where your formal studies alone just can't take you any further. And that ceiling, it's a number, 70%. The core argument is that no matter what field you're in, no matter how deep you go, even if you get a PhD, your formal education can only ever give you about 70% of the total wisdom you need to truly master something and solve real problems in the world. So take a look at this, that big 70% chunk. That's your specialized technical know-how. It's absolutely crucial, no doubt about it. But the really interesting part, the game-changing part, is that missing 30%. That's the essential wisdom. It's the piece that connects all your expertise to the real world. It's what sparks innovation. It's the missing ingredient. Which, of course, leads us to the million-dollar question. If that critical piece of the puzzle, that 30%, isn't in our universities or our labs, where in the world is it hiding? Well, the answer, according to our source, isn't found in some complicated formula. It's found in a simple story. A story that shows exactly why true wisdom is so often found where we least expect it, far, far away from the comfort of our own little bubble of expertise. So picture this. You've got this brilliant physicist, top of their field, PhD, the whole shebang. They've spent their entire life wrestling with one single impossible problem. They've tried every theory, every formula, every tool they have, but nothing. They're completely stuck inside that 70% of what they know. Then one day, he just steps away. He goes to a fishing spot to clear his head. And he's just there with regular people, folks who know absolutely nothing about physics. And in some totally casual conversation, someone makes an offhand comment, and boom, it clicks. A totally random perspective from a different world gives him the key he was missing all along. And this just nails the core idea. The source claims this isn't some happy accident. That crucial 30% of wisdom is intentionally left outside of our own field. And why? To make us engage with other people, to force us to listen to different perspectives, to understand people who are nothing like us. Without that connection, our 70% of expertise is just, well, it's incomplete. Okay, so how does a big idea like that actually apply to something tangible, like the economy? Well, the argument is that it requires a total shift in how we think about doing business, moving away from a model that's all about self-interest to one that's about serving the greater good. So here's the key distinction. On one hand, you have commerce. Think of it like flipping a pair of limited edition sneakers for a huge profit. Sure, you make money, but you haven't really created any new value. It's a zero-sum game. On the other hand, you have true business. That's about creating value for everyone, like developing a new technology that genuinely improves people's lives. The argument is that the future lies in leaving simple commerce behind and embracing this idea of true business. And this new way of thinking doesn't stop with the economy. No, it has to be reflected in what is maybe the nation's most powerful export, its culture. Media, film, music, the arts.
They're all given a new, much deeper responsibility in this vision.
In this view, creators aren't just entertainers anymore, they're guides. Their new job is to make stuff that doesn't just chase clicks and popularity with cheap conflict and violence. Instead, they're supposed to create content that actively helps solve real human problems. And to do that, you have to tap into that 30% wisdom. You need a deep understanding of people, not just the technical skill to make a hit. The goal is to be respected for leading society toward a higher purpose. And this is really where it all comes together. The path to helping humanity isn't about looking for problems out there to fix. It's about looking inward first. By using this complete wisdom, that 70% expertise combined with that 30% human connection to solve your own challenges at home, you organically create the blueprints and the answers that the rest of the world is desperately looking for. So we end on this thought. Imagine what happens if a nation or any society can really harness the full 100% of its knowledge by blending deep expertise with broad human wisdom. The potential is just limitless. And it leaves us with a pretty powerful question to think about, not just for South Korea, but for all of us. Once we find our complete wisdom, which of humanity's greatest challenges will we be ready to solve?